What's up? Welcome back, Screen Fiend fans. It's your boy Carcino, and let's go into another episode of The Acolyte. The Acolyte is acting like anything but a Star Wars series, completely off the rails. Now, this was one of the shortest series we've ever seen developed. I was like, this is the shortest I've ever seen. I can't believe how quick this episode was. I'm like, damn. I took like 2 bites of my sandwich. And I'm like, it's over? they did this was like Lord of the Rings. And I'm like, something's going on here. Like, I don't know what's happening. Did they make this film just for diversity? Did they make this whole Acolyte project just to say, hey, we're gonna do something, we're gonna give me I need a Asian guy from Korea who had learned English just for this show. Let's stick him in there as really the main lead when she's supposed to be the main lead. And let's get a black girl with braids. Right? But she can't have a man. She's got to be by herself, you know. 2 black people together can't have that. Then let's get a guy who's over here, this mixed guy with this little fro here, make him a prick. Then make the little orange tiger girl, yeah, she's just following everything by the book. And who the hell are these people? Oh, they just there to be killed off. Except for him, he's a master Jedi. He's got to survive. Hell, I was in Phantom Menace and the Clone Wars. Shit, I was in all 3. Gotta be there. Well, let's break down the episode, shall we? Now, The Acolyte. A Star Wars production. Let's go into what made this thing not really work. They start off with this observation of man. So they pick up from where episode 2 ended when we had an interruption last week to give us a backstory. So we have the interruption interview that came in. And now that we had that interruption interview, we're forced to listen to this. And now that we're forced to listen to whatever this is, a lot of things start to come to light. Such as, why is everybody here seems to believe there's some form of like deception and a lot of things that just isn't making any sense. We know that there's a Dark Master and May's trying to appease. She has to kill a Jedi without using her weapon. And this goes back to Darth Vader comic 1 that came out in like 2017, I believe. Around that time, if you find the Darth Vader comic from story 1, and he has to kill this Jedi without using a weapon. And then he takes the Jedi's weapon and converts the crystal over to make his Kyber crystal, and that's how he gets his red lightsaber. So this is why they seem to be taking a lot of stuff that was from that comic and putting it into this series, as the Jedi that he had to kill also took the oath of floating. He had took the oath of not following the Jedi order. So he took his just doing the will of the Force and meditating and hovering. just like we saw here with the Master Kanata or whatever, Master Koi or whatever the hell they call him. So I call him the House of the Dragon guy or whatever. But anyway, he's from that program. So they stuck him on the show. Yes, the dialogue is very cheesy in certain points, and I don't understand why, but it's just so cheesy. It's like the pacing is off, and we're seeing an extra long, what they call shoe leather. You need to, we're watching a lot of shoe leather. Like we don't need to see them get off the ship and walk down the path. That needs to be a lot shorter and get to the point. So we saw a lot of things develop in this thing here as they know where May's going, but they waste time to come in and have a briefing to go over a hologram to just make them further behind the people that they're actually chasing. So she calls them in, this green Jedi, who's actually from like one of the old Jedi series. And she went through a lot of trauma. So now she's been on the council for a while. And now she's like a burnt out Jedi master that sits on the council and is really political about everything. But she calls everybody in to, get them off the trail of going after May. Like, nope, you got to come in. So they all come in. And once they do, and everybody comes in, you start to see that you start to see that there's a greater problem on the surface than what others have let on. They're trying to find Kanaka, the Wookiee Jedi, who basically was just there for, trailer purposes, I guess. And we never get to see him in action or do anything else. That'll probably be another scene we see from the past when they explain what happened to the Covenant and all of the story here. So Osha, of course, she's going to go with them to find May. But we got to have this big thing of, oh, I'm not going. I'll let the Jedi handle this. I'm just going to go back to my life. No, we need you. Come along with us. You can help us get May, blah, 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 blah. Right? So we go through that. In this big mystery reveal of who the guy is or the baddie. We'll get to that. So they show May on her journey as her and her, friend that makes her drinks, who knows where he is taking her there. And they got a passageway there, and he's stumbling and bumbling, but keep reminding her of what she already know. The master said you got to do it. The master says you have to do everything he said. Now remember, the master said this. The master said that. And I'm going to play with a stick to show that I'm really goofy. And if he hasn't done anything else to say that he's the guy under the mask, I don't know what is. The only other person it could be is the person that was on her planet, her mother, the other one who was violent and ready to go to war. But then how the hell she get so powerful? Now, if you look at the mask, everybody's been calling him Smilo Ren. But if you really look at the design of the mask, it's a total carbon copy of one thing. A xenomorph from Alien. That's exactly what it is. It's a total ripoff of it. He looks like a xenomorph. Now, even the scene from Alien where he drops down from behind and just creeps up on Osha. That's like the first alien scene when the first alien is revealed, when he falls down and starts making his appearance. That is like the known Aliens movie. It's done like that in the Alien. Then they reprise it in Aliens when the mother queen or whatever appears out of the water and grabs her. So that's exactly where they got the design from and where they got that scene from. So a lot of this stuff is borrowed artificial stuff that they just coughed up out of their own throat. And it's a gumbo pot full of mess that you don't even want to believe that's going on in this. And it's sad to hear because it's like making no sense. A lot of it is like, this could be a lot better. I know it's a television series and you don't have the budget, but they got $100 million. They got like a movie budget for this. Like a complete, like they shot footage in Wales. I'm like, well, damn, you weren't even on a set for all these things. All right, the video games does it better. Then they got Kanaka. He's on this planet, and he looks like he's in isolation based on whatever him and Master Coral did. And it looked like he made a hut out of his old ship that looked like it crashed there, basically doing a Luke. And he's in isolation, and he just wants to live there in peace. That seems to be Kanaka's plan. He don't want to go nowhere. He's cool being exactly where he is. So, but he still got the Force, right? So if he got the Force, as we saw him use it one time when he took a gun from somebody, and he's sitting in a chair chopping some food up, cooking it while he's getting his grub on, he's now deceased in this show. Sorry, spoiler alert. If you didn't see the episode already, first, he's the worst looking Wookiee I've ever seen. I mean, he looked like Jim Henson's puppet. Like they came up with a Chewbacca or something. So, yeah, so he got cut open while he's sitting in the chair, not even trying to grab a lightsaber or anything. He just welcomed the death. A man with Force abilities, and he didn't see this coming. I don't know if anybody here has ever watched Star Wars in their life that made this film or made this show. I don't think nobody in the cast ever watched Star Wars before. You had one of the guys who said Anakin Skywalker blew up the Death Star. He's never going to live that down. That really put them behind the 8 ball. And I'm like, I'm a Star Wars fan. I try to find ways to defend them, and it just gets more and more impossible. Each week, it gets more and more crazy. One, because you've seen it done better. You've seen better writing. You've seen better everything. When you watch Andor, you see it done to perfection. The dialogue is better, everything. Now, when we see Xenomorph Ren, first, how does Xenomorph Ren even see in that mask? There's like very little visual whatsoever in this mask. I guess this person sees with the Force. Well, the things never. The more they say they change, the more they don't. They stay the same. That's something with Xenomorph Man. Now, where does this episode, in its very short run time, start to go off the rails? Now, this isn't the worst episode on the show, but it did kind of go off the rails a little bit. We will get into that. We'll get into that a lot. And some of the scenes and the way they cut it and edit it is just so goofy. Like, this scene was so goofy. As for no reason, none whatsoever, she's standing there staring at this person and doesn't know what's going on. She's just like mesmerized. Like, oh my God, this person is running, walking towards you, pulls a lightsaber out, and yet and still you're staring right at this person. And they're gonna probably say, well, why didn't this person just kill her? Well, we'll get to my theories in a minute, but this whole episode was based on a lot of chasing and running around and a lot of nonsense that was transpiring that was pretty goofy. Now, this appears to be the mother, right? It's either two people. It's either Mother Coral or the weird Asian guy that was like selling her dope. This is one series where you don't see any white people. It's like one white person in the show. That's why I said this looks like the most cultural association Star Wars there is. And if that was their goal, they've achieved it. But my gosh, please, hopefully these last episodes turn this into something. Because right now, you guys are failing Star Wars. You're absolutely failing Star Wars right now. And we're going to get into that. I have to. It's got to be said. Now, Star Wars has, especially when you're doing something that is a prequel. This is a prequel. This is 100 years before Return of the Jedi. Mm-hmm. So when you move 100 years into Return of the Jedi, you're looking at a bigger storm that's coming along. Now, of course, they introduce a new character. We saw an old character from Star Wars, a Jedi Master, who's now older. Well, he's younger then, but he was older on the Jedi Council, who died previously. And he died in episode 3. Or was that Order 66? Yeah, that was the last one. But no, the new character that was introduced is a character that's going to be a toy that they can sell for merchandise. Gotta have one. This little otter thing who looks like Snoopy. Remember Snoopy from Peanuts when Snoopy would get on his house and pretend he's flying his dog house? This is exactly what this they've copied from him. He looks just like Snoopy with the doggone mask, with the little shield that goes over his head like Snoopy. Only thing you need is Tweety. That Tweety bird. Snoopy. So, you got this little otter thing, this little Snoopy running around, and everybody's going, "Oh, look at the little Snoopy. He's so adorable." So everybody's caught up in the Snoopy, that they're not paying attention to the rest of the movie. Now, this little Snoopy is a tracker, and he's going around trying to track May, and he's sniffing and got her scent. So now he's on the trail. Why do you need a goddamn tracker to find May when you have the Force? You know where she's going and what planet she's on. That's all you need. You are a Jedi. What does a Jedi need with a tracker? An otter who's a tracker, tracking down a Jedi Knight who you already know you're going to see. You know that Kanaka is on this planet. He's a Jedi. How the hell can a Jedi find another Jedi? So all you have to do is find Kanaka and you will find the girl. Because she's going to go to Kanaka. Now, I was sitting there saying to myself, as I'm watching this series, am I even interested in what happens? A lot of things can happen here. Like, she could turn and go to the light side or the dark side, and it doesn't even matter anymore. Would you even care is what the point I'm getting at. Now, they keep showing these two being buddy-buddy. I'm like, what are they trying to get, like, establish a lesbian relationship or something here? Why do they keep forcing dialogue with these two? The dialogue that's forced between May and this hybrid half that looks like Tigress from doggone Thundercats. So we got Tigress in there. What's her name? Chitara. So we got Chitara from the Thundercats, and this chick right here. And what's the problem? What's the problem, folks? I'm going to tell you clear as day what the problem is. The problem is simple. This forced dialogue is leading the audience to say, oh, they're cute together. Right? So anyway, they have forced dialogue that could have been left on the editing room floor that doesn't mean anything. And she's telling her what a Jedi is and all this. It's like she was studying to be a Jedi. Okay, she left the order. She knows the stuff you're going through or talking about already. So it's not alien to her. She's been there for years. So now we gotta find out what happened with May. Did May really set the fire? Did who killed the Covenant? The Covenant was already dead. We never saw the mother. Out of all the people laying there, we didn't see her other mother. So that would lead everybody to believe that this big baddie, this villain, and everything else is the mother. Okay? So who's the stumbling, bumbling idiot that went into the trap? Well, everybody believes he's the master. He's the force using person, and who knows? They're probably both out there working together. As he's been training May behind the scenes. And now it's time to take revenge on the Jedi. Well, it's like too obvious it's him. So it might not be him. It might be that Mother Crow. But Mother Crow didn't seem more balanced. She seemed more out of control than in control. This person here seems more in control with the Force. And to be able to take on like 8 Jedis is like, whoa. Now, here's where it went left. With the little Snoopy thing that you just saw, they go ahead with this unbelievable, and I mean unbelievable. Like, oh, he or they. I'm like, they? We're using pronouns in Star Wars now? My pronouns are he, they, she. I'm like, we're using Earth pronouns now in Star Wars? Oh my God. They or he. You could have just said he or she if you didn't know what it was. When you said they, whether it's he or they, I'm like, who wrote this? Who allowed this? Jesus. Do they know they're making a Star Wars movie? It's bad. That's bad. Bad writing. Now, that's the point there. And the only sticking point that really got to me, well, here's the thing. I can't really rate the episode. And I gotta, because it's unfinished. I gotta rate the whole series to give it like my whole rating, the series. Right now, it's not a very high grade. It's a very mid grade right now. But it's hard to gauge it because you don't know half of the story. So when the series play out, then you could judge it from beginning to end, where it stands. Now, with all the settings and all the trimmings that they have in place and all the stuff that's going on, you find yourself severed from reality, severed from everything that you thought you knew. Well, you have some people that's on YouTube because they're paid by the studios to promote this film, no matter if it's crap or not. So they can't tell you it's bad. They only got to tell you the positives, even though this is really bad. As far as storytelling, it is not moving the needle. It is very bland, and this is a very poor way of going down this mystery. You have to have people intrigued. And people are not intrigued. They're annoyed. And there's a major difference there. And I hate when they do stupid stuff like, yeah, May, when we get May back on the ship, I'll tell you everything. You're not gonna make it back on the ship, buddy. You're gonna be dead. You May and Anna or Oshi ain't gonna make it on the damn ship. You gonna be dead. Did I tell you? Did. Now, someone said, yeah, it was prior to that, but if we're looking at the fabric of everything that has been done throughout the whole space and time continuance, we're seeing one or two of two things. You're seeing a thing where the person that they want to be the acolyte or the one that can bring it down is Oshi, not May. Because May is already viewed as an enemy. She's not viewed as the light side. Oshi, who they accuse her going from the light to the dark, would be the contrast of destroying something, and she is the acolyte. And that could be the misconception. It's a duality. And that's what this episode, and I mean, what this show seems to be about, is a duality. Star Wars has always been about a balance and a duality. So, when you start seeing twins and all of these different settings, you're going to see you're going to start to see a lot of things develop. Another thing that ticked me off, as we're going here, I'm going to show y'all Snoopy again. Look at Snoopy leading the trail. And look at all the Jedis are on this place, and they can't sense. He was able to sense where May was, or where Osha was, but he can't sense Kanaka. Kanaka is not a Jedi he's never met before. Kanaka is a Jedi that he knows. Master Kanaka is somebody he knows. And this thing is sniffing out May. That's why they got him there. He's the sniff out man. Go, little otter thing, go. Go ahead, Snoopy. And all these people are Charlie Brown. Good grief. the peanut gang is all following Snoopy as he's trying to he's trying to lead them down to the right path. Now, here's the part that gets me. She's on the trail with her master, and while she's on the trail with her master, who's supposed to be leading her to the promised land, and he keeps reminding her of her mission. And the master, and she's like, well, what is your job with the master? Like, what could you do? You like have no powers. Like, what could you be serving of him? And then of course he runs into a trap. She calls for him. She screams. He runs, and then he gets caught in the trap. And she goes, huh? Well, he does need you. You are a tracker. And was like, oh my God, the master, he will kill you for this. Like, if you betray him, she was like, I'll just turn myself into the Jedi. And she said, oh, he'll kill you. Just out of the blue, she's gonna say, you know what? This is impossible. I can't do it. And he's like, oh, this is not impossible. And just all of a sudden, with a snap of a finger, in 10 minutes, she goes from the villain, now 5 seconds. My honor is to my sister, and I'm gonna go turn myself into the Jedi. They're gonna lock you up. You just murdered some people. Nope, not when I tell them who I know, and that like that's gonna get her out. You just killed 2 Jedis, 2 master Jedis. They finna hang you. You are going to jail. What the hell is she thinking about? I'm like, what is she thinking about? It just like for no rhyme or reason, there was no. This is what I'm saying. The writing is so bad. There's no conflict, no struggle, nothing to make her just. She just like, hey, I need to sit down. Okay. Hey, he's like, we really don't need to stop, but okay, she need to stop. You are a force user. And this guy, she was like, I have to fight Kanaka. I have to keep my strength. So I got to rest. And he was like, all right, well, we really shouldn't, but okay. And I'm like, all right, why we shouldn't? This guy knows because he could sense that the Jedi are there. And they got to hurry this up. So while he steps into the trap and she just goes off and leaves him, like, he does need you. And then she just walks off and leave him while he's stuck. And it was like, okay, you're here with me. Why? Why is he on a mission to go with you on this? Then he comes there ahead of her, beats her there, and actually takes out the Wookiee and actually hides himself before the Jedi even get there. Then appears behind him, behind Oshi, knocks her out of the way with like 2 fingers, like, and she just goes flying out of the way as the Jedi are all igniting their lightsabers, running towards the Xenomorph. And he hit just one hand, put to the ground, and knocks all like 8, 9 Jedis out the way. Even the doggone Snoopy is knocked out of the way. Snoopy out of there now. So Snoopy gone, everybody out of the way. Everybody looking stupid. They're like, what? And of course it goes off. And that is it. So now everyone's trying to figure it out. Is it this guy? It's gotta be him. He's the only obvious character, or it's gonna wind up being her mom. Because the obviousness of this is it has to be the mom or Mother Coral As I believe, Mother Coral used her force powers that could control the mind and either made May set the fire while she went to take out the mother, and then she was attacked, and she probably took out the other Jedi. I mean, she probably made the Jedi do the attack when they came to pick up Osha. So that's my theory on it. When they came to pick up Osha, she turned the Jedi on her sisters by controlling their minds. And they lost their minds and didn't know why they were attacking. And Master Corbin seems to have lost his eye in that battle. And maybe this guy is her pupil, was the guy she trained, and she trained him and told him to train her. As you can see, as the master, he was able to duck. Remember, she knows the force, she knows the knives. This is a guy supposed to have no force abilities whatsoever. He was able to get out of the way of the knives she was swinging at him, and then grab the knife and turn it on her. How could he do that to somebody who's force sensitive? All he knows about is potions. So that's my take on the Acolyte. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll have some more when they do some more next Tuesday. Be right back on with another one. All right, I'm out.